Hello, today we are going to talk about plate tectonics. If you think about the landscape of Earth, right, why we have mountains, why we have valleys, why we have coastlines, right, a lot of the structures on Earth are shaped by plate tectonics, and it's a really fascinating topic. So let's get right into it. All right, plate tectonics. So notice that the Earth's continents appear to fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, right? You can kind of see that the east coast of the US and Central America and South America almost fit together to the west coast of Europe and Africa, right? It looks like you could just slide the continents together and they would fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, right? And this is something that people noticed really early on. And eventually, in 1915, continental drift, the idea of continental drift was proposed by the German scientist Alfred Wegener. And he proposed that a long, long time ago, there was a supercontinent, meaning that all of the land masses on Earth were connected to one continent. And then that supercontinent, which he called Pangea, broke apart. And the continents drifted apart. And that's why all of the modern day continents appear to have fit together, right? So this idea that a long time ago, Pangea, all of the continents were one land mass. And then after that, the continents started to drift apart, but we still see remnants of those puzzle pieces and where they fit together. And there was a lot of evidence for this, right? It wasn't just continental fit. It wasn't just this, it wasn't just that the continents looked like jigsaw puzzles. It was also that we found similar rocks and mountain ranges across the continents. There was evidence of glaciers across the continents, and there was fossil evidence. So let's talk about each of these. So the similar rock sequences. So we found that not only does it look like Africa could nestle nicely in between North and South America, we also find very similar rocks of a very similar age that span these continents, almost like these rocks used to be together before breaking apart. The same thing for mountain ranges, right? We see mountain ranges of a very similar size and a very similar age made up of very similar rocks across continents. And it looks like Europe and North America and Africa used to all be squished together. It looks like they all used to fit together. We also see glacial evidence, right? So we see evidence of glaciers. Glaciers leave evidence of them flowing. Remember, glaciers are basically rivers of ice, these huge blobs of ice that flow very, very slowly. And as they flow, they grind up material in front of them, kind of like a bulldozer. So we can see that material that they pushed in front of them, which we call glacial till, on many different continents. And it kind of looks like there was a huge glacier, a huge ice sheet that was on South America and Africa and India and Australia and Antarctica, right? So we see evidence of glaciers on all of those continents, kind of like they used to fit together into one. Same thing for glacial striations. I said that glaciers are kind of like bulldozers. So not only do they push glacial till in front of them, they also scrape up the ground beneath them and they leave scratches on the ground. So we see scratches on all of these continents as if they used to fit together and have one glacier on top of all of them. We've talked about rocks, mountains, glaciers. We also see fossils that span the continents, right? We see fossils of species that are on multiple continents. And it kind of looks like if you put those continents together, those species would have lived in an area when both of those continents were together. And that's why they would have been able to move from continent to continent. It's because the continents used to be together. They didn't used to be separated by these massive oceans. Right, so early on in the early 1900s, people start to think, maybe the continents used to fit together. And Alfred Wegener in 1915 proposed the idea of continental drift, that a long time ago we had a single continent, Pangea, and since then the continents have drifted apart.